Hello, Year 5 and Year 6. It's nice to have you back as we explore the Athenian democracy once again. So, if you remember, in the previous lesson, we looked at the Athenian democracy in detail. So today, we're going to focus in our part 2 about looking at people who didn't have a voice in ancient Greece. So, without further ado, let's get ready. Grab your topic book, your pen, pencil, ruler, colored pencil, and we be ready in a second. So pause the video and I'll catch up with you very soon. Well done, Year 5 and Year 6. So as always, let's start by writing the date and LO in our books. So the learning objective for today is, who didn't have a voice in ancient Greece? Can you please be careful? I got an A for ancient, capital A, and a capital G for Greece, as well as a question mark as it's a question. As you would normally do in class, make sure you underline the LO. And as always, the date is up to you as I don't know when you're doing it. The signs of success are the following. Make sure you get information from different sources. And then at the end, can you please make sure you answer the inquiry question? So a bit of revisiting all we've done before, nothing new in the signs of success. So once again, who didn't have a voice in ancient Greece? And let's get started. So as we've done before, I'm going to play 2 slides for you to read and take notes. And then when it's done, I've got some videos to show you. So make sure you take time to read these 2 slides, pause, take some notes, try to imagine what it was at the time, and try to keep in mind the key question we've got. Who didn't have a voice in ancient Greece? And maybe also, why do you think they didn't have a voice? Was it fair that they didn't have a voice? What would you change in that model? So play the video, pause when you need, and I will catch up with you very soon. Amazing job, Year 5 and Year 6. So now you have a better idea of who didn't have a voice in ancient Greece. So I'm just going to play this video for you. It's showing you men and women and the different lives they were having, and it focuses as well on jobs for women. So have a look at the video and then I will catch up with you straight after.
After a hard day's work, there's nothing like a sit down and a nice cup of wine.
I think you've had enough.
My family, well, some of them. Just think of all the things Athena's given us. I mean, what would we do if we couldn't weave cloth? We'd still be wearing animal skins, no better than barbarians. Marina, my wife's mother, she's not a bad old stick, and she knows all there is to know about weaving. Skilled work, that. Not perhaps as skilled as throwing pots, of course, but very useful making cloth. That's why the skill needs to be passed on. My niece is Meanie. She's learning to spin first. Her grandmother's teaching her. Twisting the wool into thread. When she's learned that, she'll learn to weave. That's how it is. The young learn from the old. Not that his Meanie is the youngest. He's my most recent grandson. Fine pair of lungs on him. As soon as he's old enough, he'll come to work with me. Another potter. Everybody has to work, young or old, like Samiki here. Grinding corn. Making flour. It's a slow job, but it has to be done every day. While she's doing that, her sister Helen is down at the well, fetching water. Look at those jars. Guess who made them? Must be a pleasure to fetch water in jars like them. A good thing, the amount of water we get through. Still, without water, we couldn't do anything. Couldn't even make bread. Look at the strength in those arms. If only women wrestled, she'd be a match for anyone. My dearest treasure, Kalaniki. What a woman. Wonderful wife. Marvellous mother. And what she can do with a stew, you wouldn't believe. Looks good enough to eat. That's if there's anything left after she's been tasting it all the time. Tonight, we're also having my favourite. Can you guess? Grilled fish, brushed with olive oil. There's no doubt that Athena has been generous with her gifts.
So year 5 and year 6, as you could see in this video, women had a lot to do every day. So here we've got a bit more explanation of all the job and tasks they had to do and carry on every day. So in ancient Greece, a woman's role was to look after the home and bring up children. In that video, we saw that women had to weave, spin, look after children, grind corn, fetch water, make bread, and cook. They were also working alongside men in the fields and had to sell goods in the marketplace. So some were even servants or slaves. And spinning and weaving was a very important part of ancient Greece society. And they were important tasks carried out by all women, both rich and poor in the home. And if you've read different myths and legends, you probably came across the story of Arachne, which tells us a special weaving skills and how she got into trouble with the gods. So another way to see the impact of weaving from gods to women and society. So good job for that year 5 and year 6, and let's move on to the next part. So here we've got a recording of an extract of a book, a Greek book called On Household Management. And it highlights the different tasks that women had to do to run a wealthy household, means a rich household. So listen to it and see how different it is from the previous one we watched.
It will be your job to remain indoors and send out all those slaves who work outdoors. Then you must supervise the slaves who work inside the house. It is your job to collect all the money that comes into the house and pay out any expenses that are owed. You must look after the money carefully so that you don't spend a whole year's budget in a month. When they bring you wool, you must make clothes for all who need them. It is your job to check that the dried corn is fit to eat. You should go around making sure that everything is in its proper place. It will be good exercise for you to knead the bread and shake out and fold the cloaks and sheets. But there is one thankless task you have to do, and that is look after any slave who falls ill.
So year 5 and year 6, was it any different being a woman in a rich household or being a woman in a poor household? Let's discuss that. So if you've got someone next to you, have a chat. If you're in school, you can have a chat with your friend, with your teacher, and just pause the video, obviously, to have time to discuss. So Here we've got a bit more about women's place. So we learn here that wealthy women in Athens led secluded lives, meaning they were not allowed to go out on their own. They belonged to firstly their father and later their husband, to whom they could be married as young as 13 years old. And as you know already, women had few rights. They could not own property, they could not vote, so they were unable to take part in any democratic decisions. Again, why? So women didn't have a voice in ancient Greece. What do you think about it? Is it fair? Is it different than you imagine? So pause the video and have a chat about it with whoever is next to you. So throughout this lesson, you learned a lot about women and people who didn't have a voice in ancient Greece. So it's now time for you to complete an activity. So use the previous document, the notes, and if you want, just watch back again the different document, the video I had, and try to answer the different inquiry questions here. What was the social structure in ancient Greece? What were the women's jobs? Was it better to be a woman in Sparta than in Athens? Why women and slaves didn't have a voice? Good question. Why? Because we know the who didn't have a voice, but do we know why? So lots of questions to answer for you. So pause the video and try to answer as many questions as you can. Obviously, as usual, try to give some examples to back up your argument, try to use specific vocabulary, and I will catch up with you for the last part of the session. And here we are, year 5 and year 6. This is the final part of our lesson today. So who didn't have a voice in ancient Greece? And I'm calling again you as brave change makers. What do you think about the fact that some people didn't have a voice in ancient Greece? How does this situation make you feel? So these are kind of key questions I would like you to discuss. So as I've said before, if there is an adult around you or a friend you can contact, obviously if you're in school, you can have a chat with teachers and also with friends next to you. So try to take some time, maybe not today, but in the coming days, to discuss these key questions about ancient Greece. So what do you think about the fact that some people didn't have a voice in ancient Greece? How does this situation make you feel? And maybe you can start thinking about how is it today in the world we live? Do we all have a voice? Do we all have the same voice? So it's maybe some question are starting to raise up in your mind. So well done for your lessons today, year 5 and year 6, and I will catch up with you in the next one. Bye and see you later.